We are live. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening blessings and salutations.
As usual.
Of course, without a doubt.
How is everybody doing tonight?
Super.
Good.
Much better.
Oh, Debbie, your goddaughter Dan. Hi, Naya. Welcome to the show.
Calling people out. Oh my God.
Her specialty.
Oh Lord. Good evening, everybody who has logged in. How's everybody doing again? I think we hopefully might have one other person that's going to join us tonight, but I'm not sure. But I want to introduce, of course,
Hey, Nicole.
just in the nick of time.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Good evening, Ranchi. We are live. And so I'm going to introduce tonight for our discussion on monogamy.
Yeah, right?
We have Wanda, Felix. Thank you. Wanda is one of our the members in our Love and Enlightenment group. We have Brianna Velo, who's one of our millennials, who's going to be in on this conversation. And we have our returning Ranchi with us tonight. So I want to thank everybody for deciding to tackle this topic with us tonight. We had put in, I think Piggy put in a video today by Esther Perel. She's actually really, really good to listen to. She's a psychotherapist, an author, and a speaker. And her take on monogamy and relationships is pretty interesting. She's from Belgium, but she lives in New York and been married at a young age. And still married, has 2 boys, but she's really good to listen to if anybody wants to dive into this conversation anymore. So let's just dive in. We're gonna start. I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Were we gonna start with Lucian comment?
Yeah, we could start with the comment. I don't have it up. So do you have it up?
No, Lucian know what it is. He's the one make the comment.
Oh, I did? Like I do?
like it came from you personally.
I tell you, like, Jesus, like, what people
Wait, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna look for the comment. So just bear with me 1 minute. But I wanted to start off with the question to everybody: is monogamy a myth? Who wants to start first?
Hey, Kima.
You want to, Brianna?
Miss Wanda.
Oh wow, see? Maybe I get a thing.
Well, before you start, Wanda, I kind of want to say that one of the things that in even just going into this topic was that monogamy years and years and years ago was viewed as you were with one person for your whole life. That has changed. And now monogamy means a lot different for different people, but in essence, it means you're with one person for that relationship. So it means something different. So in light of that, we'll start with you, Wanda. Do you think monogamy is a myth?
In the biblical days, it was mostly polygamy.
Yeah, it changed. It actually changed.
It was never monogamy in the biblical days, was it?
Yes, it was.
Monogamy in biblical days?
No.
I think it was mostly polygamy, at least from what I read.
It was always polygamy, always.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was polygamous, and it wasn't until I think in Greek times, in Roman times, that it ended up starting to turn into monogamy. Yeah. So yeah, because I did a little bit of research on that as well, but it was a big thing, because at the end of the day, monogamy was created for economic reasons. It had like I'm trying to find, I have it written down here, exactly in history. It had nothing to do with love. It was solely an economic system for patrimony and lineage. And what changed it is that monogamy became about romantic love.
Yes.
And then it changed from that because of the sexual revolution. And so it means something different through the times. But as we stand today in 2021, do you feel that monogamy is a myth? And let's preface this by saying Wanda is married and has been married for 26 years, in a relationship for 37. So what do you think? Sorry, I'm putting you on
Monogamy.
the first.
I personally, I don't think it's a, well, I don't know what to say if it's a myth, you know. That's my cup of tea, so I am not going to be too base, and I I don't believe in the polygamy thing, even though I know about it, I've witnessed it wholehearted. Um, I've seen the good and I've seen the bad in it. It can work. I know people that it has actually worked. I know people that have 5 wives and it's working. And I know people that have 5 wives and it's not working. So I just think it's about personality, and it comes with an order
Yeah,
that
we
for
can't
you
hear
to.
Wanda very good. Something going on.
Wanda, can you, on your device, could you turn up your volume a little bit?
Let me see. Can
It
you hear me
doesn't
now?
allow. Can y'all hear her better now? I could hear her fine.
Yeah,
Talk, Wanda.
You can hear me?
Yeah, go
You can
Yeah.
ahead.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that I've witnessed the polygamy where it has worked and where it didn't work in some people, and it comes with order from what I understand and what I know. And if you're gonna come in if you're gonna come into it with a mindset of a one-way street and not a whole as a whole, it's not going to work. So to answer the big question, I don't think, I mean, because of what it was in the old days, is it should have been polygamy. But I want to I don't want to say it's a myth because of how I feel. I'm gonna be real,
Right,
you
right.
know.
And again, it's going to be a personal thing regardless.
Yeah.
It has to do with how you were raised. It has to do with how you view your relationship, how you view the world.
Yeah.
So for everybody, I think it's going to be different, whether
Yeah,
it's
because
it's
I'm a like to none of you out there. I ain't trying to share. So
I don't blame you.
I being real, you know.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you one bit.
But
How
it
about
can
you?
work. It can work. It can work. I've seen it. It can work,
Okay.
to be truthful.
And
If
how
it's
about you,
done if
Miss
it's
Trina?
done right. If it's done right, you know. And that means, like, for instance, a brother can't want, when he hear polygamy, you can't be thinking sex. Oh my God, I have 5 women that I could just, it ain't about that. You're talking about five different personality you have to deal with. Number one, the culture that I know that I talking about, you have to be a woman that wants to pursue a family, a husband and a wife, and she wants to come into this relationship. If a husband wants this, you have to actually pursue the woman, the wife, because this is the person that you're gonna have to be with all the time. They're cooking together, they're raising children together. You know, this is the person that you have to pursue, the wife, actually. And once love each other or they like what they like about each other, then the sister start to pursue the brother. Um, and while they're doing that, they have to do it together. Sometimes they go on dates together. I mean, it's like a serious order to it. And then
Mhm.
the brother also have to be wealthy enough to take care of all these wives. You know, you can't want to go into this thinking one way and then your pocket saying another thing. So it's like it's a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot, to get into and to be
Right.
serious about. But like I said, I've seen it, and these people have been married for years, living, some of them live under the same roof. Some brothers, they're wealthy enough to actually put their wives in different homes, like they live right around each other. Some of them, the ones that live together, they're actually under the same roof, raising all these children. I mean, it was just phenomenal to see. I mean, I was like, wow, but it's happening, and they in love, You see the sisters, they're walking all around and they're together. They don't even be with the husband like that. They're walking together, they're doing everything together. When they come home, I guess he's out working. When they come home, you know, they just do their
Wow.
family thing. But yeah, yeah.
So
It
it
was a
can work
joy
for other
it was
people.
a joy to see that it could actually work. But I'm like, woohoo!
Not for you. Okay,
Not for
well,
me.
okay. How about you, Trina? Do you think, because of course, polygamy is well, in terms of order, polygamy is the opposite of monogamy. And how you play out polygamy for everybody is different. But how about you, Trina? How do you view monogamy as a myth?
I think it's an ideal that we want to live by um, in this part of the world, in our culture. Um, is it a myth? All the relationships I've been in, I've been cheated on, so I don't know what to say about that. I believe in monogamy. I think it's a person makeup. I think it's how a person is made up. Like my father is Muslim, and he could take on many wives, and I know many Muslims that could take on wives. But like Wanda said, you have to be able to afford them, and you have to all treat them equally the same. So my father never took on a second wife. He was like, that was too much financially and too much responsibility. Like Wanda said, you know dealing with other people and other personalities. And I would agree with that too. Like, I think it's a person makeup. Like, I just can't see me out. I know a lot of women who were Muslims and they were asked, like for from their husbands to bring out second wives, and they were like, no. So even though they knew that that was their religion, they still was against it. When the situation came up, they were like, no, they don't want to be in that situation. Um, some women, I have a jealous nature, so I know dying a work for me. I mean, I ain't jealous in the sense like you're talking to somebody as a friend or whatever, but I ain't want to share a lot like Wanda saying, raising children. No, I don't want to do that. But that's me. Other people is different, and other people are open to different things. So what do I believe it's a myth? Monogamy, it can't be a myth because I'm a person who believe in monogamy. I am. So it can be a myth, and I know there's people also. But then when we look at monogamy, not to get too long, it changes over the time. So monogamy at one point was one man, one woman married for life. And that changed, and now it's multiple and is being with one person at a time. So it changes over, it's just a very, very wide thing to deal with. So that's it. That's all I got to say.
Okay. How about you, Lucian? I'm wondering if maybe I need to change the question instead of asking if it's a myth. Do you think that monogamy actually really exists in relationships? And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be in marriage. Just in a relationship, does monogamy exist?
It does. I've seen many relationships and known of many and been in some that it works for. I just think that it's dependent on what the individuals want or how willing they are to do different things for each other. You know, a lot of people are in long-term relationships, but sometimes they might need something different. You know what I'm saying? And if their partner is willing and able, then they might try something other than monogamy. But I think overall, like most people, I think in today's society is kind of hard with technology and women in the workplace and different things like that. Back in the day when the woman was more at home and stuff, yeah, a little bit more easier because then you didn't have so many influences, you know, like this co-worker who looked good and she just like when she take off, she be shot and this and that. You know, it's kind of like different little things that could happen, you know. Back in the day, also, I think there was a sense of monogamy, but men were doing what they wanted to do while the women were at home thinking that the man was being monogamous. So, and then there's some instances where the woman knew that the man was not being monogamous, but then they themselves were being monogamous. So henceforth, the relationship worked because it wasn't like she was going out there and doing what he was doing, you know. So I just truly believe it's all about like you know the two individuals and what they're wanting to go through for each other.
Okay. So then I would assume that if they both are not on the same place, then that's what we're talking about, infidelity and cheating and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
Okay. To ask the millennials, Brianna, in your time, does monogamy exist?
I think it exists. I just think it's harder to obtain right now. I feel like a lot of people have given up on it. And I think that's where a lot of the hookup culture and stuff that we talked about last week, that's why that came into play. Because a lot of people got tired of waiting for their partner or whatever the case may be. But I do think it exists now. It's just a lot of people have other priorities than just marriage. Back in the day, marriage was a big priority for women. They wanted to be married at a young age. They wanted a family. Now, I want a career. I want to travel. I want other things in life. And a husband may come, marriage may come, a family may come, but that's not my main priority like it was back in the day. So,
Okay.
that's what I have to say.
Okay. And how about you, Ranji? You can hear me, Ranji?
Looks frozen.
Yeah, I think he's frozen. Ranji, you can hear us? Oh, Louis, how about you? Oh, okay, wait, Ranji.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can.
Okay. Do you think monogamy actually exists?
Close for
Works?
now.
Say that again.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, that's why everybody quiet. Are you live up?
No,
Live up the thing.
no, because we're waiting. We're waiting for you
believe-
to answer the question.
Yeah, I believe it still exists. Of course, it does. That's the basic standard of a relationship. Two people coming together and forming a relationship. Poly and all the other types of relationships, I believe. Oh, well, for poly, I know there's rules to it now. You for the relationship, there's rules you set. You and your partner set going out before you do anything when it comes to a poly. But for monogamy, yeah, I believe those relationships still exist and still happens on a daily basis. Everybody looks for that. That's your basic standard. That's your foundation to a relationship. Going into anything with anybody, it always starts there. I believe if you're looking for more, your partners will just have to be if they really want to stick together or whatever. When people grow, as a partner, you're supposed to grow with your partner. So you guys have to share the experiences or whatever you guys want to do. You have to be able to be vocal and communicate that whatever you're looking for. So does monogamy exist? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to go somewhere with this afterwards, but go ahead, Louis. What about you?
First of all, let me apologize. I having some difficulties, as you can tell, with my access. So yes, it actually it does. Monogamy. What's monogamy? Monogamy, in my opinion, is clearly when you have two individuals that their intent is to come together into a union, to form a relationship, that is the expectation. That is the intent to become monogamous. So yes, I do believe that it exists. Of course, the strains of life and the different tests was what caused or causes infidelity on both parts. To maintain that union, to maintain that exclusivity, it requires work, a lot of work, because you will be tested. So it can exist, but it's not something that should be taken lightly. And I definitely, again, we talk about our experiences. I've been monogamous, and there's times when I have not been monogamous. But we could talk about that much later in this conversation. But most definitely, it does exist. It requires commitment, major commitment on both parts.
Okay. Part of the reason why I'm asking this question is because there's a lot of statistics that show that although people say that they're for monogamy, that in a large percentage of relationships, there is a lot of infidelity, cheating, however you want to name it, that happens. Especially if you're in a longer term relationship, that it exists. So it's weird that we live in a culture that we say now that we still want monogamy in relationships, but then there's a lot of people doing contrary to that word. And again, even in a polygamous relationship, they might consider themselves to be monogamous because they are in the confines of that relationship too. So I think that we're living in a world now where things have so many more meanings, But do you think, and I'm going to go back to you all and ask this question again, do you think it's an unrealistic goal for most marriages? Because the statistics are out there that a lot of people have cheated. And again, cheating means different things for different people. Back in the day, cheating literally was coming outside of the relationship, outside of the marriage, and having sex with someone else. Now cheating could be having an emotional connection, relationship, texting, you know what I'm saying? So it's gotten so broad. So do you think that monogamy is unrealistic for the world that we live in today?
I like how I don't know how to say Mbaku. He asks if it's natural. Maybe that's our question to ask. Is it natural? Well, if we look at it in the wild with the animals and everything, right? It's really not natural. And I think there is just some human beings. I mean, there is even some science that proven that people have a genetic disposition to multiple partners. That's the science. When you look in the wild, there are people who have they are genetically inclined to have more than one partner. I don't want to use the word affair. I want to say more than one partner because it's genetic. They're saying it's genetic. It's in their genes, right? Because in different cultures, in different parts of the world, this is the culture. This is the practice. We have acquired that practice here for many reasons. Women had to get married when they were younger because men was they took care of us. In other countries right now, like in India, if their husbands die and they don't have any male children, or in places like China, and they don't have any males, these people don't have anybody to take care of them because that is the culture, right? So we're looking at this as a culture now. You said earlier, Debbie, that most people believe in monogamy, but most people, over 50%, I'm putting the statistics. I don't just say a lot of people don't practice monogamy.
Correct.
But who are the ones that is saying that they believe in monogamy? Is it the culture that dictates that you believe in monogamy, or is it the individuals that believe that? And because we live in a society that shun people for behavior, because now it's more open and it's more acceptable, but 10, 20 years ago, it wasn't. So what came along with that? Now, there are different cultures that has accepted certain behaviors, but in certain cultures it wasn't accepted, and what came along with that. So I mean, the questions is so vague. I don't even know which
There's
to
a lot of
start with.
noise.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. It's hard. It's kind of a hard subject to tackle because at the end of the day, I think that in America, and again, based on what cultural norms you come from or you ascribe to, most people see one person with another person, and that's it. But in other cultures, in other countries, monogamy is not part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's touchy. But then you also have the other side of monogamy in the sense that we're talking about polygamy, which is like a structured kind of relationship, partnership. But then there's also the part of monogamy where people are coming outside of the marriage, not because they don't love this person, but because they're bored, they're seeking opportunities. Someone else is making them feel alive, so they're coming outside of the confines of the marriage, the relationship. And so you're saying you want monogamy, but instead of dealing with the relationship itself, you're going outside of the confines of that relationship. So
I I I I
go
think
ahead.
that love, we what is love, you know? What is love?
Somebody
I
asked that
feel
question.
I feel what is love is when you're doing good and right to somebody, you know? And I have a problem with you telling me you love me and you're going outside to find something. Why can't you come to me, talk to me, and tell me what is the problem? Why you have to go out there to seek? If it's sex, example, I don't like how we do that. I mean, use the man. Tell me what you want me to do, how you want me to make you feel. You know, why you have to go and creep and find something out there and then you telling me about love, or you don't like how I do cook, so you got to find somebody that could cook. I mean, I just throwing things out there.
Right.
Can you come to
Right.
me, the person you love, and we walk it in a way, you know, that that's how we the walk in I the walk in my relationship. This is how
Right.
our marriage lasts for how long. This is what we do. So we communicate. We don't like something about what each other is doing or whatever. We come together, and a lot of people like to say that they don't want to change, but there's sometimes you have to change. Sometimes you have to change to make things work.
So,
You
so
know?
Miss Wanda, suppose
Yes,
the
sir.
issue is the fact that your husband didn't get to experience certain things, and then like they got married, but then you're not going to be willing to. So suppose your husband say, you know what, maybe I want a threesome. Can we do that?
He want what? Threesome? What make you
A
want
threesome?
threesome after all these years he there with me?
No, no, I'm just saying. No, listen,
Okay,
what?
I don't answer the question. If he want threesome, the answer is
No,
no.
no, but listen though, but listen though.
Yeah.
Because what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying is like, he got like, y'all got married young. So
Yeah.
henceforth, some of his desires and stuff he didn't get to like fulfill. So if he come to you and
Mm-hmm.
be like, baby, I love you, but I
Mm-hmm.
really would like to have a threesome. You see, you just said, right, to come to you and talk to you about stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna work with me. Not no threesome.
Coming to
And
you,
you know
coming
what
to
he
her,
tell me?
him
And
coming
you
to
know what
her
he
and
tell
having.
me? And you know he
Go ahead.
tell me because I was trying to get him to come on because it's always good to have the brothers them interview. And he didn't, he ain't a camera person. But you know what he tell me? He tell me if somebody don't like or they having a problem coming together and solving something, or it's time to move on. So I guess if he decide he want to have a threesome and I said no, and it's so bad that he need a threesome, then I guess I gonna have to take the loss because I'm not going to do it. It ain't
So
Uh,
would
happening.
you
uh,
so would you allow him to go out and do
so
it with
if
somebody?
you want them not to come every morning and say good morning, beautiful, and that's what you want. You want your man to tell you how beautiful you are and how attractive he is, and love you, and your man choose not to do that. He don't want to do that.
If he choose not to do that?
Yeah, he don't want to do that.
Those aren't relatable though.
You should be able to accept that.
Yes,
It is relatable.
It is relatable.
A good morning compared to a threesome?
No, because the thing about it is, it's something that
It's
she
not.
wants.
It's not that. It's not the action. It's not sex or whatever. It's two people wanting something that they can't have because they're married and they partner choose not to do it. Is that right?
Exactly.
Right. Because a lot of times we associate polygamy, we associate infidelity, we associate all these things with just sex. But it's not just sex. There's other things, other factors that make people go outside or seek other companionship.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And some relationships are healthy. One that have an excellent, healthy relationship. But then they got 50%, not even 50, but 40. They got 50% of marriages who is not healthy that ends up in divorce. What makes them unhealthy? There is some factor there that cause the relationship to be unhealthy, that causes the divorce rate to be above 50%, right? So what Ranchi says does make sense, because it may just be you want to hear something from your mate that you can't hear from your mate, but then you find somebody else who's going to tell you the things then, because we are human beings, right? And we're all seeking something, gratification, attention, and above all, love. We can't assume that every marriage that's monogamous have love present, care present, because some relationships are just functional.
So
That works left field. That kind of left field. Because we were talking about, like, Ranchi and I were saying, since she can't do this because she just don't want to do it, and he don't want to do something that she wants, where's the compromise? You know what I'm saying? If you want something badly and I'm willing to give it to you, why can't you give me what I want badly?
Let me explain myself. First of all, first of all, it's 11 years me and my husband pursue each other. 11. That's enough time, I think, to know each other. I mean, we still, you still learning some things, but the little minor things like what Ranchi just said. I mean, by then I should know, if you ain't telling me, how pretty I be, or what I want to hear. I was supposed to nip that there from 11 years ago before I get married. Don't bring
at the same time, as an example.
Bring your foolishness in your marriage. Is what I'm trying to say. You should pour.
That's an example.
Huh?
That's an example.
I know.
That's an example. But at the same time, you're getting in a relationship with somebody. All right, every person has its individual wants. Although you're getting in a relationship, you as a person has an individual wants. You as an individual have your own aspect to things, or would like to live out certain things. So now I love you, and nothing can change the fact that I love you. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But can we experience this together? Can we go through these things together? Can we go on this roller coaster ride together? Can we go dive into the ocean together? Can we swim in sharks together?
That's true.
That's what you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for. It's still going to come with boundaries.
A polyamorous relationship, whether it's beautiful in the morning, whether it's cooking in the kitchen or baking or selling drugs, whatever. If you choose to do that together, if you're in a relationship, that's what you're looking for. Not togetherness. It's a compromise. We're going to meet each other at some point because you have one life to live. I know.
But Ranchi, it's in everything. There's going to be boundaries, and everything.
Exactly.
You're not going to just necessarily because this person wants it. Like Lucien said, there might be a compromise, but there's some things I don't think that you can make a compromise on. Some things are. It's either a fact. It's like yes or no.
It's a discussion. It shouldn't be a yes or no. It should never be a yes or no. It should be a discussion.
Okay, the discussion going to lead to the answer of no.
So Ranchi,
because you already have your mindset there. Why not look into it?
So Ranchi, you
do it.
saying if your wife or your girl come to you and say she's interested in a threesome, you too, not with you, not with her,
Yes.
not two women, two dudes. And this is the
Uh-huh.
world we live in today,
Wait,
right? The
two
wall is
dudes
all
really meeting and next dude?
you, yeah,
Or
two
two
dudes,
random
right?
dudes?
Because we can always see it that the two women, right? We some of us women feel the same way about two women
That's
and their
right.
husband or man, the same way you feel about two men and
Of
a
course.
woman. So when the woman come to you and say, "I want some two dudes," what
Okay,
you
no
gonna do
problem.
then?
Let's
Where's
have
the
a discussion
discussion?
about it. Let's have a discussion about it. I'm not going to do it in St. Martin. I'm going to be here with the people. So let me travel. Let's go to China.
What is
Let's
this?
go to London, where I ain't gonna have to see the guy again. I see you texting the guy,
What is
and we
there
could
to
do it there.
discuss?
We could order it. You order it like a plate of food. Right now, everything is that accessible that you can order it. You want this guy or you want this girl, you're going to open the app and you ask for it.
Don't
It shows up to your
even.
door. No problem. We can
So
do it.
you ain't gonna be off the bat now. You ain't gonna be off the bat. No, I don't want to have this discussion.
I ain't gonna do that. No, we have to have
No.
a discussion
Okay. And what
because
about
you,
you,
my partner,
Lucian?
we got this. But this is what a relationship is. If we can have a proper relationship where we can have a discussion or actually look at each other's point of view and see if to look at the ifs and maybes and the buts. What is I might as well be single. We might as well be single and screw each other from time to time. And maybe I send a food for you or you send a food for me on a job or something, and you live single. But you should have a discussion into your relationship. You
In
cannot
my
just walk in there with a blind mind with your blinders on like a horse on a race saying no. You can't say no. You have
Okay,
to
so
have a
my
you're
discussion.
so
relationship,
Lucy. I mean, sorry.
in
So
my
Ranchi, you saying?
relationship,
Go ahead, Wanda.
in my relationship, like I said, we had 11 years of courting, learning each other, and we knew, I knew, he know that ain't no threesome I wanted. We have had this discussion, all these discussion in our 11 years.
But you hear what you
So if he
say.
was, so if he
But you
was
hear
to
what you
come
say.
to me once we married, listen to me. If he gonna come to me once we married, the answer is no. We had the discussion. Ain't
There
changed.
you go.
No.
There you go. But you have to have the discussion, Wanda. That's what I'm saying. I ain't saying that you, Wanda, need to go and have a threesome. I'm saying people in a relationship supposed to have a discussion.
Right.
I'm not calling you out, Wanda. I'm just saying that
No,
people in a
I know,
relationship
but I
No,
just
but
must have a
she's saying
speaking
she
discussion.
had
on
it.
I speaking on my experience. So I'm telling you that we have had discussion on everything. We had 11 years of learning each other. All the bad ways, the good ways, whatever. I have little things that we still learning, but I mean the real deal, we have learned each other. And I'm telling you, I give you 11 years to learn. Learn me, I learn you. Don't come when we get married now to come with no extraness. That's all I'm saying. You know, we talked about it. So my answer to Lucian is no, because we have discussed it. He know that I don't like it and I wouldn't do it. So don't
So
come
let
to me
me
later because you is 50 something years old and you want H and you just want it ain't happening. No. I changed my mind. I changed my
so
mind.
Wanda. So
Yes.
Wanda, so let me ask you this though. Suppose he said, well, you know what, baby, it don't have to be with you. It could be with two other females.
Eh? No, me not understanding this.
He's saying come outside of the marriage and do it. Is that what you're saying, Lucian?
Yes.
Correct. He goes
Lucian,
out
you
and
just
do it.
stirring up trouble.
No,
Lucian,
I'm
Yeah,
just
correct.
saying.
that's what Lucian doing.
I
Yeah,
just
he's
said.
stirring up trouble.
Lucian, I like it.
I'm
I
just.
like it. You don't want to do it.
Of
He
course.
wants to experience it.
wait. Lucian never answered the question when it was directed to him, right?
Wait. CC just said. CC just said. No, wait, Lucian, 1 second. CC just said, why not have the discussion again? Because people change.
Exactly.
People change.
People change, Wanda. People are changed. People are changed
As
because
long as you live in Wanda, as long as you're living and breathing Wanda, you're watching TV and you're going to work and you're hearing your boy stock stories and you're living and you're seeing and you're living and you're seeing, you're going to want to do different things, Wanda. You never ride a bike in your life. You never ride a bike in your life. When you reach 60 years old, you see a 60-year-old, an 80-year-old man riding a bike. You want to ride a bike too before you dead. People change.
Listen, me ain't send you to go check out for me. Me send you to do none of that. Papa gonna go to sleep, gonna go in his grave wandering. Ain't nobody changing my mind. Nope.
Wanda,
Yeah,
but
like
Wanda,
I with you with that one. I with you with that one. Ain't happening.
no, but I understand you're not changing your mind. But would you say, you know what? Since I don't want to do it, you can go ahead, baby. I love you. I know you're coming back home, and you go out there and do your thing and come back to mommy. No,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about this one? Wait.
no.
Oh, how about this one? Wait. Wanda, you
Yes,
go to
yes,
a
dear.
club. Wanda, you go to a club. If I come to Martin, they got clubs where you can do this. Wanda, you go to a club and you pick two ladies and you pay for your husband to experience that.
Club?
So they're not
You
calling
went
his
to the
phone.
club.
They ain't got no WhatsApp. They was never dating. They never went out. They never jumped skydive together.
If
You
I
pay
really
them
had, if
in
I
this
really
moment
had
to
to
do
do
it
that,
and done.
if I really had to do that, we going to the church and let me see which two women out of the church gonna do that.
You might be surprised. You might be surprised. Them church women, them ain't easy, you know. Oh,
Okay.
Lucian, Nicole said you did not answer the question. Answer the question, Nicole says.
He did answer his question in the comments.
Yeah,
I
but
did
he needs to
answer the
answer it on the air.
First of all, Pinky, right? You're supposed to be on the show, all right? On the show. You are everybody else's business. Let's just focus on this. Focus on this, buddy.
He already answered. Okay. Everybody thinking on Wanda. I just kind of want to preface for anybody who came on late. Wanda, of all of us, is married, been married for 26 plus years, been together for 37 years. So that's why everybody's like jumping on. Well, not everybody, Lucian and Ranchi.
Asking questions.
I was married for 25 years. I was married for 25 years, and if he and I know he found the time I was 17, and I was not. That wasn't gonna happen. We weren't doing no threesome. I wasn't gonna. If he had come to me with that story, I probably would. Back in them days, I would have probably looked to sprinkle with some holy water and do something to read and beat it with a Bible, because that's how I was back in the day. But no, I just like even to them, not that person. I don't come to me with no threesome. I'm not interested.
But then, Pinky, would you allow your husband to go out there and fulfill his desires?
Is one fantasy.
But again, Lucian, and look, this is what we have to remember. Everybody looks at relationships and what is expected or not. I wouldn't say what is expected, but what they're not going to accept in a relationship. So for some relationships, people are open to try different. They've had the discussion that they're willing to try certain things.
It's like swinging, right? It's like swinging, right?
It's not like swinging. Swinging is when you keep away. It's something different.
Okay, but we kind of deviate, like we're fixating. I think somebody wrote
hours on the subject. Hours.
This is my question. In terms of how we view, because again, we're kind of in the same age group for the most part. Me, Wanda, Pinky, and Lucian. Okay.
What?
Lucian?
You're just a little younger.
Lucian is not our age. Lucian is like not. Yeah, Lucian is the same age. Yeah, Lucian is the same age.
Whatever. You're a couple years
younger. With Lucian, so I don't know what you're talking about, Debbie. So no, me and Lucian is not in your age group.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Whatever.
Pinky has said all night. Thank you.
Whatever. But in terms of Ranji and Brianna, because of course this conversation is also to get the viewpoint of the millennials. In terms of the people that you know, again, is the ultimate goal to be in a monogamous relationship. And again, if you feel like if people are in a monogamous relationship, is there still, I mean, again, there is cheating and infidelity going on, period. But is the goal really to be monogamous in your generation.
Not everybody's goal, no. I have some friends that are already married, have kids, and I have some friends that are just living their life waiting for monogamy. And then I have friends that will never want to get married, never want kids. They don't see themselves doing those things. So it just depends on the person. But to go back to like the conversation before, a lot of people are waiting longer to get married. And I think that's a benefit of monogamy because you could have the threesome, the hookups, all the stuff you want before you get married. Exactly. And then when you get married, you've already done all those things. You've already experienced what you want to experience. And then you're ready to settle with that one person.
Exactly.
If you want, a lot of people hop into monogamy too quickly, and then they want to say, "Oh, I want this, I want that." It's too late to do that once you put a ring on it. That's a discussion before marriage. That's before vows. That's a discussion y'all should have way before 50 years or 25 years of marriage. Now I want certain things. That's selfish. Exactly. So I think the waiting till marriage thing that a lot of millennials are doing, I think that's a benefit to monogamy for long term because we've already done what we wanted to do, and now we're ready to just chill with that one person forever.
You know what? And that's very true. And that's why I said, like, if he didn't experience those things since they got married so early, a lot of people when they get married, like in their teens and stuff, it's just like, they really haven't had time to experience different things. And I think, like, as you get older, you being an understanding partner, you should be like, you know what? You never experienced it. So, I mean, I know you love me. I know you ain't going no place. So, boom. But then some people might be like, yeah, hell no. But then once again, it's based on on everybody's personal preference.
Wait. I wanna say something because we don't always have comments on YouTube, but we have someone. Drika Richardson said, "Once you're married, say bye-bye to that nonsense."
Exactly.
But Luciana and Brenna, you bring up a very good point because again, society to push, like I said, back in the days in the church, right? They push so much belief on us. When you're so young, it kind of molds you. And you kind of don't know which direction you're going in, and you're going in the direction in which you're forced to go in. So it's like you saying when you're young, you get to explore those options before you get married. Because back in our days, I mean, I was with my husband from the time I was 18 years old. If you were talking like this back then, it was unaccepted. The behavior, to be talking about hookup, to be talking about exploration was unaccepted. Monogamy back then, before then, even though it wasn't, was one mate, even though it wasn't, one mate for the rest of your life, right? That's all it was. And so, no, those options could not come up where we're talking about you want to explore during marriage because it's like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is a bad thing, right? Now we're seeing it differently where people are waiting longer to get married. They're exploring and they're not being judged based on that. Back in our days, you were going to get judged based on those things, man and woman.
But you know what else too, Pinky? I was just thinking about this too. I think that people now are more like they communicate more. So then, like, if something was supposed, back in the day, a dude would not come to his wife and ask her that question.
He would not.
Just go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't do it with her, but he would get it done whichever way. He'd be like, yeah, check mark off of my list. But nowadays, people are more, they communicate more. So they'd be like, hey, honey, can we do this?
Right.
Not married.
Yeah, like Ron, she said, have a conversation. Me and my husband would have not had a conversation like that. We would have.
In a relationship, but not married.
No, but some people would do that if they were married. Some people would. Yeah. I mean, but the thing about it is, at least as long as they're not going out there and doing it without you discussing it. But if the person knows your attitude towards it, then they might just go out and do it without, speaking with you.
But let me also interject and say, and this is one of the things that Esther was talking about, and she was saying that a lot of these desires and things that people have now, it's not more than it existed a long time ago. But her belief is that we live in a world where we're more entitled, and we feel like we are entitled to fulfill every desire that comes in our head. Whereas long time ago, people might have stepped out and done things, but but you were really concerned about your legacy. You were really concerned about your family. It wasn't, it was about sacrificing for the family versus I am going to live my life and you just got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that has also played a matter because you could have a thought in your head,
That's not
you
true.
have to step out and do it.
That's not true, Debbie. A lot of times, like, guys used to do that back in the day. I mean, like, that's like saying, like, oh yeah, like the reason why my parents got divorced was because my father cheated on her. Yeah, because he stepped out on her. He didn't tell her he was going to step out on her. Did he tell her? No, he just did it. So my thing is, right?
True, but I'm saying that it's the way in which it happens nowadays because now it's again Ranchi. We had this discussion with Ranchi, and he was saying that how now people can take pictures of you. So a long time ago, yes, somebody might have stepped out in a marriage, they might have done something. The spouse didn't even know, their partner didn't even know that it happened.
Right.
So in essence, it didn't necessarily have an effect. Yeah, you might have felt like things were a little different or whatever, but you didn't know exactly what was causing that. Whereas now people are doing things with a lot more entitlement with what they're doing. And on top of the fact that they can get caught a lot easier now. So then it does affect the relationship a lot more.
I think the entitlement thing is a little. I think men felt more entitled back in the day than they do now. I think
definitely agree.
Yeah, you know, because
I think women. I mean, this whole. I hear what you're saying, but this is the thing too.
I think women now feel more entitled than men. If we're gonna put entitlement on something, because now we're just like, oh, okay, I see you, and then women go do the same shit. So beforehand, the men were more entitled. Like, listen, no, use my thing. We married. You just respect the family name, and I go do my thing. That's how that shit was.
Yeah.
So anybody who could say that back then was better than now, or no.
You married. You ain't got nothing to worry about. I guess. I don't know what to say.
He's right though, but women are more entitled these days because we're not dependent on our husbands or partners like they were back in the day. Back in the day, a man could cheat and a woman might know, but she knew financially she was not going to be good without him. She didn't have a job to live off of. She had kids. Nowadays, we're financially stable without him. So we're going to be good. If you want to go cheat, go do that, but I'm leaving you. Back in the day, they had to stay. For whatever reason, they had to stay.
Yeah, that wasn't happening.
But I gotta say this too. Another reason why women are feeling entitled or being different today is years ago, sex was for having children, right? Nowadays, women are having sex. Yeah, that's years ago.
Sex was ours for pleasure. I didn't know there was a specific
sex was not
for children.
Even
it was ours for pleasure.
Not for a woman, Luis, please. Okay, for a woman, no. Okay, you just have to look up some history. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't need to look that up. That's
yes.
Based on practice.
Even if it was for pleasure, woman wasn't going to say it. We wasn't going to even. It wasn't for pleasure for women years ago. We were to have children, and our husband went elsewhere for pleasure. We had a job. It was a job. It was a position and a job that we had to live up to. Okay.
No.
I don't have to like what I'm saying. I'm gonna just tell you the truth. They don't have to be accepted.
That's not everyone's truth, though. That is not everyone's truth, Pinky. That is not everyone's truth.
Okay, that's not everyone's truth, but I am talking about a time in history. I am not talking about yesterday or 5 years ago.
It was no time.
I'm talking 20, 25, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Now today, women are speaking up. They are enjoying sex. They want sex. And if they don't get it, they're going elsewhere. And they're not ashamed to say it.
Nah, man, don't forget 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you had a hippie time.
Well, no, 50 years ago. Yeah. Oh, okay, and that's what the sexual revolution was about. Right. That's what it was about.
It was about equalness. Doing whatever.
Even with the sexual revolution.
Pinky, you're speaking of pleasure. Pleasure that been happening. Women been jumping on their husbands.
I am not saying that we did not. I am not saying we did not do it and we didn't enjoy it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
you just said that they weren't enjoying it.
No, that's not what
standards.
she said. That's not what she's saying.
She didn't say that. Oh, the daughter
What
jumped. Go
she's
ahead.
saying is nowadays women are more open to I want sex. Back in the day, women were quiet about those things that was between her and her husband. Nowadays, women are more open to I want multiple partners. I want this. I want that.
But
that wasn't a discussion with women back
she
in the
talked
day.
And it
about
could
it
not
not being
have been a
pleasurable.
discussion.
The
It
one
was
thing
not
Pinky
an
mentioned is that
acceptable
it wasn't
discussion.
pleasurable.
What?
It wasn't about pleasure, but a woman was used for children, for birth, is what she's saying. Like it wasn't we didn't discuss women being used or
No,
sex
back
being
in
used for
no,
pleasure.
Women,
back in
marriage was a security. Marriage was a
back in
security.
Castle's
Marriage was a security. It was where the family was founded. The husband was the provider. The woman was the childbearer. This is how we showed up in society.
That's when
Okay,
they were
it has
kids.
changed, like Brianna said. What?
Wait. Let me say something here. CC,
So-
and this
so
is
the-
something I did see this. CC said birth control liberated women to
Okay.
explore sex for pleasure more openly without the worry of getting pregnant outside of the marriage, and that created.
My
a
question
time.
is, please show me where you gain this information from. Somebody, anybody.
When we
But
finish tonight, I will send it to you.
That's just history.
It's in history. That, and we're not saying that it didn't have women, and we're not, and again, we are generalizing. We're not
Exactly.
saying each individual person.
Exactly.
We're saying that in general,
In culture,
sex and
society.
culture, women view sex was at the end of the day for procreation. It was
Yes.
not. The mindset wasn't about pleasure, and even if there was, it wasn't a discussion. It was something maybe somebody had a thought that they had in their head.
So
Go ahead.
So what you're saying is, right,
Mhm,
that we are married
mhm.
and we have 5 kids, so we only had sex 5 times.
Because that was your job. That was her job.
No.
No, I don't take it to another extreme.
That was her job.
No, I'm just saying that was
You're not listening. But
Wait,
it's not
sir.
just the woman, because if she's in a relationship with her husband, and her husband, wait, what happened?
Sex?
And her husband wants the sex to, as the wife, she accommodated him. That's what we're talking about as well. It's not a general statement, because so you're telling me that you think the masses in the 1300s, the women were saying to their husbands, I want to have sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
That's what
Bible
you're saying.
mentions pleasurable
husband?
sex. So sex have been a source of pleasure for a
Their
long time.
husband.
A long time.
That is not what we're
Long time.
talking about. We're not talking about
No,
it being
we're being
pleasurable.
specific.
Let's stick to monogamy and polygamy, because me ain't going away.
I mean, the thing about it is, the more liberated the woman back then was, is the more she would approach sex differently.
More free.
And and furthermore, let's talk about this. It also depends on the kind of relationship that the woman had with her man.
It
If the man-
depended on society.
No,
It
no, no.
depended on society and
Really?
culture.
That's not true.
Yes,
That's not true.
yes,
That's
it
not
did.
true.
Yes, it did.
Because that's not true.
Unfortunately, you would be surprised. They have women who husbands was. I'm sorry to tell I had women who've had children for their husbands, and that's how the husband wanted them far, and then they were having sex outside the marriage for the rest of the duration, and the women couldn't leave their husband. You would be surprised to know that there are relationships that exist like that.
That's true. I mean, that exists today.
Exactly.
I know, but
So what are
I'm
we
saying-
talking about? We're talking about culture. And we're talking about society.
Yeah, but
What
that's
I'm
not the
saying
only
is-
way, though. We're not saying that it didn't exist. It does exist,
Exactly.
but it's not the
Exactly.
only way. And you're making it
I
seem
never
you're
said
having
what's
but
what
you're
you
giving
call
that
only
impression.
and
You're
not
giving
only.
that impression, Pinky.
I am not giving that impression.
What she's
I'm giving that impression because you don't understand. I can't say that you don't know and you don't understand. Louis.
Everybody's
I can't
talking,
help
so
that.
then we're not going to be able to hear. So we have to have one person talking at a time. That's
And Kima did mention the fact that women in certain countries was. I can't even say a word. I sound frustrated right now. Where women had to be circumcised because it wasn't for pleasure. Okay, I mean we know this in certain societies. Really,
Sex has always been for pleasure, yes. And a female to get that pleasure, she typically had to be married to get it because it was deemed, bad for her to go out, to not be a married woman and having sex.
And Brianna brought it
Nowadays,
full
she
circle.
can get her pleasure from it's not deemed bad to want to have multiple partners, to have sex without marriage and stuff like that. Back in the day, she had to be married to look appropriate to have
True.
sex, if that
They
makes
couldn't
sense.
even, and back in the day too, you couldn't even be seen like with a man unless you were married to him, because then it was looked in a into like British or English culture, it was frowned upon. So
But
yes,
then
we
a
understand.
woman wasn't always pleasured in her marriage. That was
That's
the
true.
issue. So like she had to be
That's
married
true.
to have sex, but that might not have given her pleasure. Now she doesn't have to be married to have sex, which means she can have pleasure elsewhere. And that's
Exactly.
where change occurred.
There we
Where
go. Exactly right.
it's always for pleasure, but we had to be with one partner when males were with multiple partners to get their pleasure. We had to be with our husband, and that's not always pleasurable.
And that is true.
Well, I better make it pleasurable.
It's not. Remember they had the red light district back in the day. So I guess that's where the men went and got their pleasure.
Yeah.
That's where the men got their pleasure and they left the wife them home.
Okay, those were the women that were frowned upon.
Women were frowned upon for years.
I'm just saying women of the red light district. Those are the ones that were outcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
So you
Thanks
think
for that,
they
Louis.
were,
That was very
they
helpful.
weren't frowned upon?
Red light.
good job, Brianna.
Red light.
Oh, God.
I will put the bulbs, everything in there, right here.
Exactly. What other question I wanted to ask? So do you all think that then the word monogamy is kind of, it's wrought with hypocrisy, because we know that it exists and nobody's saying it doesn't exist, and in a lot of relationships it does exist. But what do you all think about the fact that people say they want a monogamous relationship, they want a relationship with this person, but then people are outside doing other things that are saying contrary to what they're saying?
I don't see that as much in like just normal population, I guess, than I do in media. I think monogamy in media have made it seem like nobody could be monogamous because everybody's getting cheated on, like Beyonce and all the beautiful women out there. But when I think about my friends and the people around me, when they become monogamous, when they finally get married, they're monogamous. I don't see a lot of cheating happening in the marriages in my generation as they were back in the day. But that says they're waiting for marriage and they're for sure like, I've done what I wanted to do. I'm ready to settle down. I think the word has a negative connotation just based on media making it seem like everybody cheats. It's okay to cheat. Cheating's become normalized, but I don't really see that in day to day in my generation. If you want to cheat, if you want to have multiple partners, you're not settling down yet.
Okay. How about you, Ronchi?
I agree with her.
Okay.
I agree with her, yeah. It's
So what do you think? So you have friends and family that are married, and you see them having, I mean, of course, we don't know what everybody's doing in their relationships, but for the most part, you see them in monogamous relationships.
yep.
And are you also seeing that they're getting married later, or it's different? It's mixed.
It's mixed. It's really mixed. It depends on the feelings. Everybody have their thing to it. Some people like to get married early when they're in the heartbeat of the moment, when everything feels good. Some people just like to wait till you really get to know their partner. So
you see it mixed.
yeah, it exists.
Okay. Did anybody want to bring in any of the comments? Because we had a lot of comments, especially earlier. Marcelino said, we have lost values and morals for the love of lust. The consequences are being magnified as the years go by, and our children will be escalating it further as an acceptable behavior.
I mean, that's y'all's fault. That's the older generation fault. I'm just saying.
How is it our fault, Brianna? How is this our fault?
Because y'all made love look
You know
not
what?
very loving. Y'all made love look miserable.
I think
That's just me, personal opinion, but love didn't look happy. And so why am I going to put myself in an unhappy situation when I'm happy by myself, living my best life by myself?
But see, I grew up in a different environment. I grew up in a loving environment, so it was different for me. My parents, again, still together 56 years strong, and that environment, I don't know what happened to me or where it went so, because I'm not married anymore, but you know what? That's just how life is. But I grew up in a loving environment, so I guess it's different for people.
Likewise.
My parents.
And that's, like I said, 56 years of marriage, so that was a long time to see that from the so-called back in the day concept.
They divorced when I was 16, which I was old enough to understand. And the hurt that I see my mother went through, I said that I made it a promise saying that I could not go through that. And I don't know if that helped with where I'm at now or what, but the things that I see growing up that she did that turned my father off, like this rawness, that was my mom. And a lot of men don't like this from a woman, too much
Wow.
in the ear,
Tennis.
and from when I saw that, I was like, you know what, that when my husband see that in me too, he was like, that babe dying, looking good at that. And I had to say to myself, if I want this relationship to last, I got to get rid of that nonsense. And this is
But Debbie, that was up.
This is when I talk about change and stuff like that. You have to learn, man. You have to learn and live. You can't come in a marriage and bring your dirty ways. It's not about you alone. It's about two, And you have to be able to compromise. And if you can't do that, then you need to just go your other way. I mean,
we definitely meant.
But that's even before marriage.
But Debbie, that's about that post that you had.
That's a foundation. That's a relationship.
Sorry, Debbie, the post that I mentioned earlier is that same post about peace of mind, having a stability in the relationship, in the marriage, and having a peace of mind. All men want is a peace of mind. That's all we want. We just want to be comfortable. We don't need like what Wanda's saying. We don't.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's the same thing like what Wanda's saying. We don't need the extraness. We don't need the yappity yap. If there's you want communication. Yes, you want meaningful communication and meaningful conversation, right. But like she's talking about that extraness.
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? I mean, you gotta have conversation about that because we need to bring resolve to that, but it can't be constant.
Okay, but my question, like Wanda was saying,
that's not to answer your question though.
So would you have not seen that rawness or the things that kind of like pushed you away from the relationship? Wouldn't you have seen that while you were dating and courting before you even made that decision to get married?
It's a good question. Not necessarily.
Really? Why? You get married the next day? You get married the next month? How you didn't see the process?
You don't necessarily see that all the way.
Yeah,
it's not all the time. That doesn't happen all the time. That doesn't happen all the time.
I agree. Sometimes
marriage.
Sometimes you can get bitter from whatever reason. Like, I'm gonna use my parents as an example. My father was a police officer and would be out late, and she would assume, I guess, I don't know, she got her information from or whatever, but I just looking in, I was young, and she would assume that he doing stuff like that, and she would just be like this, talking about what he doing out there when the man walk in, you know what I mean? I gotta pick up for it because I think that's what he been doing. Now I don't know, but she will be like this, and it's like if he know he walk in and you got like this, that you're showing me you don't have no trust, and if you can't come together and have the proper discussion instead of just you got that doing that and I got to be hearing this every time you come in. Man, it's that's what happened. You kind of just chase that person out like that.
Sure, makes sense.
I said marriages. Marriages take two people. It takes two people, and we keep talking about the
Agreed.
conversation. The conversation. I don't know what happened in. I always say I can only speak for my own marriage. I can't speak for nobody else's. If a man want peace in his relationship, and there is something causing a woman to be insecure, I think it's his job or his duty to step up and help his wife to understand. Maybe she just paranoid. Maybe she just,
No,
I don't
I agree
know.
with that. I agree with
But
that.
it's a conversation and it's not to be ignored, because when we
Right.
ignore things and we push it aside, you can't put a band-aid over cancer. It's
I
gonna
agree
just
with
get
that.
worse and you're gonna die. It's going to
Right.
cause the relationship to end.
But you know what, Pinky? I'm glad that you said that, because the thing about it is this as well. Sometimes people bring insecurities from other relationships.
I was just gonna
You
say
know what I'm
that.
saying?
The
So you
brokenness,
can't,
no doubt.
so you can't
Yep.
say that how the man have to prove himself like this and that. No, because sometimes it's like something that came from another relationship. So my thing about that is, if you're doing everything to make her feel secure, you know what I'm saying? Then that's a problem that she have to deal with internally. You know what I'm saying? She has to sit down and be like, you know what? Let me not bring what happened to me into this relationship. Let me look at things differently. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's what partnerships are about.
she has to have the
Exactly. So the
ability to
point is
recognize
you
that.
have to deal with it. The point is you have to deal with the problem and not ignore the problem, because ignoring the problem gonna make it worse.
And
And
as somebody,
all of us, man and woman, come in with something from some place. Ain't nobody come from no perfect relationship prior or no perfect household. Everybody bringing some insecurity, but together we come together, we sit down, we discuss problems in the name of love.
Absolutely.
If we talk about monogamous relationship and polygamy relationship, if you haven't bickering and carrying on and you bringing another mate into the relationship, what is that going to do? Cause more problems and more problems, right? You have to deal with the problem at hand.
Like Kima said, wanting peace of mind and not actively seeking peace of mind is the root, was her comment.
I personally believe peace of mind come from self, right? So my personal belief is, if he out there walking, I'm gonna talk about my relationship. If he out there walking or he out there cheating, and I decide to stay in this situation, I have to find peace. I can't change he, I have to change me. If I choose to
Right.
stay, I have to find peace within me. But that's me, who've been on a journey for a long time. Everybody isn't there.
Right.
Some people gonna look to their mate to help them to be at peace. I gotta find peace within myself. I can't allow you to give me my peace, because I
well,
know.
it's not about allowing the person to give you your peace. It's just a person needs to understand that, you know, we shouldn't have to be fighting about everything every minute. You know, as Wanda was stating with her mom, she can reference how, like, what happened between her and her father. I mean, between her father and her mom. You know what I'm saying? She was aware enough to understand and change her behavioral patterns before she ended up like her mom and losing the father. It's
Right.
all about awareness. You know, we talk about conversation. We have to be aware enough to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Right.
what it boils down to.
True.
And you
Go
also,
ahead.
when you go into a relationship, you also need to say to yourself, what am I bringing to this relationship, instead of what should I be expecting from the relationship?
Exactly. Exactly. And people, you see, once again, you see, most good relationships work when it's a friendship and a partnership. It has to be a partnership. You know, it can't be one who think that they're better than the next and they can do what they want, because then it's different. You
Right.
know, so it has to be a partnership.
True.
Absolutely.
Let me see. Kima said something. Also, I'm trying to find it. God, there was a lot. Kima made a comment. She said, "Good people will be faithful to the institution of marriage and the essence of monogamy."
Good people, that is a true and a false statement. There's lots of good people who out there, and then for some reason they stray. suppose they were not feeling like, if there are women, for example, who like, they have everything that they want, everything that they need, but they're still missing something. Flirting with somebody and just, carrying on that conversation is something that they might be missing. It's not physical, but, they look at that as cheating. But that
But
person is fulfilling
it
their
have
needs.
women. It have women in countries where if they are known to be cheating, they're gonna get killed, and they'll still cheat. Right. So what it is they're searching for? They got people who head will be chopped off, and it still is happening. Why?
Well, they're searching for love. We all have this perception in our mind of what love is, and she or he is obviously not, being fulfilled by it. You know what I'm saying? That definition is just not ringing true with them. And you
So
know what? Let's just say this. Let's put this out there. If we looked at the amount of women that cheat in compare, like before we had the Hallmark channel and a Lifetime channel, I can see a definite increase because of those two channels. With all these love stories and how things supposed to be and blah blah blah. Definitely an upward trend. Just wanted to say that. Go ahead.
That's fact, or that's your observation?
That's my observation.
Oh, okay.
well, maybe it's not the Hallmark channel. Maybe it's the fact that we got TV and we got so much channels.
And that's
And
true
the,
too.
and the fact that we have so many options today in the wall, and the fact that we're not limited anymore, and we feel like Debbie said before, we feel entitled. We feel entitled to happiness. We feel entitled to pleasure. We feel entitled to all things, and so we just gonna do whatever we want to do because that's just the world we live in.
You feel entitled to live the life that you see somebody living on social media, and that's the problem. Everybody want to live this glamorous life that is seeing Jay-Z and Beyonce living. Not
Them
knowing
take
Jay-Z and Beyonce don't sleep together. Knowing that the man probably living in a different house than she living in. They don't talk to each other for 19 months. But because they show me the awards together, oh my God, I want that.
Yep.
You see how good it is?
Play. You need to stop
Exactly.
something.
But everybody
And you know
falling
what?
for play.
And Ranchi, let me
Everybody
take it
falling
back.
for the play. Everybody falling for the social media hype and all
Exactly.
that is seeing on BT, MTV, and all the other stations.
Especially,
Everybody falling for the hype.
especially TV with this,
It's
like
like the TV.
what a
What
man
else
is
show?
supposed to
What else
be.
show? Love and
Yeah.
hip hop, love
Yeah.
and basketball. All these
Oh
stupidness.
God.
Everybody want these things that ain't real.
Yep. And that's why
Real
love
people
is
live
so,
real life. Social media and TV
and that's
is
why love is so
entertainment.
misconstrued.
The,
Love
the
is so
people come to tell
misconstrued.
them, have an argument. The directors and producers come to tell them, listen, you gotta go out and have this glamorous dinner, or you
Yeah.
can have a dinner on the beach. But in real life, that don't happen. You go
Exactly.
on a picnic, you go throw frisbee in the middle of the day because guess what? That's the time you gotta go walk. You have to go to work. I sit there and flinging frisbee. We got bills to pay. We need to do that.
We fling it frisbee.
We flinging
And I think,
frisbee.
It's
and I
true.
think,
All the
like,
thing in
especially when
parties.
we talk about romance and what
TV,
is romantic, is
television
what
is a
TV
problem.
sells us. Is what TV sells us. If TV says like, oh, buying your wife a diamond ring is something that's like romantic, or what, going to the Virgin Islands, on the whim and taking your rent money and spending on it, is romantic. You know what I'm saying? This is how it
But
is,
yes,
and it's
they go to
crazy.
the part where you're living on bread.
When
You
when
know,
we
got
were
a
growing
privilege.
up,
We got to eat bread this week. We ain't going home. We eating bread.
Well,
How much are your
Some of our
parents?
growing up,
Your families live that way.
some of our classmates, our Asians, so they want the little young tenderonis then, and that's what they want. They want the hip hop and are you dyeing up are your hair and are your beard and are you and then when are your back aching are you come looking for we but your back aching, it's too
Hey,
late.
but it's funny you say that because when we were in school, we used to see the older man them making them kind of moves.
Exactly.
We used to see that when we were in school, and
That's
it's
true.
like a vicious cycle.
now are you doing it? Now it's your turn.
No,
My
no,
hair
no, no,
still
no.
my hair still gray. My hair
Yeah,
gray.
no, no,
All
no.
over, all over gray.
See that?
I sprouted. You can't see it here in the camera, but it's sprouted. I got little ones and popping over.
You got speckles?
Yeah, I got
But
little popping
I
over.
was saying, when we were growing up, we just get asked to the prom, right? now in my kids them generation, wait a call Verena, you don't gotta get a prom proposal or something like that.
Yeah, prom proposal.
Yeah,
What's
and
it
it
called?
have to be big and it have to be elaborate with balloons and a whole big. And I was like, why? Why they just
Wow.
can't ask to the prom?
Wow.
It's
Huh?
for social
Entertainment.
media.
Why
It's
they doing
all
it?
for social
But that's
media.
what I'm saying. This is how
It's
times
that-
have changed, right?
Yes.
The relationships will last as long as they ain't entertainment. As long as your friends can't talk about it, as long as you can't brag about it, the relationship is horrible. As long as you can't brag on your man or brag on your woman and show off, it's there. The relationship is stripping it. They don't want it. You're gonna have
It's the
problem.
same thing. Ain't even the girls them alone, it's the boys them too. They're looking for sugar mummies. They're looking for
Best
sugar
believe
mummies.
it.
And
You
them
best
mummies,
believe it.
them mummies
Nancy,
looking-
Nancy
Yeah,
looking
it's
for a
true.
cougar.
You best believe it.
They ain't playing. They ain't playing, you know. And some of these mummies ain't playing either because, you know, you're running after the little sugar, the little babies, them, you know. So they gotta get their groove on. So
Yeah, because we watching
it's
people.
what's going on.
We watching people like J-Lo and Jada Pickett, and we looking at these behaviors, and you know, like.
It
But
look
one
good.
thing is
That's
TV.
what they wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're training
They had a
us.
time and
So
It is
it's
a-
not the Hallmark channel. It's just what we seen on TV, and like Ranchita says, social media, because you know he got something against social.
it had a time
I'm
and
not, I'm against it. No. It's nice. It's good to see things. So it gives you a different aspect to try something in your relationship. You know, you could try this. Let me go on a picnic. I saw this. Let me try this. Not a problem. But if I find I have a problem where you want to live that person's life, where you feel like you need to get those things what you seeing. You don't need to get them. If you get them, it's good. If you get a perk, it's nice. But you don't need to live that way because they never show the real struggle. They never show the times when they just sitting down home. They ain't got no. They're living in the cold. They can't even pay to. They can't pay to get a heater in the house done. So they sit down, cuddle up together, trying to get warm. They don't show those things on TV. All they're showing is the good stuff, the glitter and the glam.
When
The
they
glitter and
flinging
the
the
glam.
frisbee.
The glips and the glam and the cheating. That's how you see the cheating. So you got the cheating, the little excitement, and then boom, they're back together again. And yay, they make you walk. And then boom, somebody cheating again. And then they go in again. That's all it is, entertainment. And everybody, all you're going to do is look for the next one. Change channel, change channel. Change it, change the channel.
Know
Wait,
that our
wait, go
entertainment.
ahead. Wait, Louis. Awanda was saying something about
Yes.
Island 95. Go ahead.
They posed the question, why is it that these women, you know, these women with these career and stuff, why it is they want with these guys that can't do nothing for them? Let me tell you
We don't
something.
want them. We don't
I
want
been in
them.
my car driving, okay, and my mouth they could have touched the wheel. Listen, they had some women calling and they was like, all I want is for when I come home, he could give it to me good because I don't need his money. I don't need this. I don't need that. And I tell her,
Wanda, wait. Wanda,
these
wait.
like grown woman. And I mean, I'm like,
Wanda, let me interject. How much years the older men get with the younger girls and it wasn't a problem? It's okay for the men to spend when the man is rich. The man got money, he could spend money lavish with the young girl. Why is it now that when the woman has the power and the woman has the money, why she can't find a young guy?
no. What I just trying to show is that I just trying to say that these women, like the young lady was saying, these women. I mean, I was just shocked, like my age, like calling in and saying these things because I can understand why when the young lady was saying, you know, these women, you know, they. Again, I lose my train. You know, you're doing for me and
That happens to us a lot.
They're independent and they don't need a man per se.
Yeah, I'm shocked. You want to say you want to get married and all of this stuff, good stuff, but then here you come on the radio and talking about I don't need this. I was just shocked to hear that. I never
Pinky to call it what? Maintenance man?
I never believe it actually.
Nah, I never call it no maintenance
Who
man.
said maintenance man?
It wasn't me. Maintenance
Somebody
man
brought
is
it up. But wait a minute. Swana was still speaking. Wanda was
Yeah,
still speaking. Go ahead.
I just saying I never thought anybody around my age felt that way. I just thought that we all wanted to know, settle down, get married, have our home, build our family. I was just shocked. I'm telling you, I was shocked. And maybe, I just been under
But
a rock or
but you know
something.
what, Wanda? But you know what, Wanda? That comes from women who were controlled by men for a long period of time, and then when they got their financial freedom, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna let nobody else control me like that again. And then they
Right.
want to be able to call their own shots and do their own thing. That's what's
Because
going on.
And it could be,
Right.
again, it's a tell of the times, because even though we ask these questions of the millennials, I think even us, people in our generation, are ascribing to that same philosophy as well. And so as a result, we're seeing the dynamic, not just in the younger generation, but we're also seeing it in our generation and the older generation as well. It's just that's become the norm, and everybody's not, again, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people are ascribing to what's out there.
It's now acceptable behavior
It's
where
it's
it wasn't
So who is
acceptable
it
in our days.
acceptable to?
it's just wanting what you want. We live in a time now where there's no boundaries. If you want this, you can have it. Nothing stops you from having it. You can have it. If you want it, you can have it. You want to be with a person younger than you can have it. You want to be with somebody older than you can have it.
I
But
don't
Stop
even
it's,
think
you.
I don't even think it was about an age thing, really. I just think about it's about that the fact that
I would,
these
I would,
these
I would
fellas they
definitely
have
stay with the
nothing.
Asian though.
Let me talk about the man on the corner. Let me get read the man on the corner. What you want with a man on the corner? You know?
When you
but
say
they're not
man on the
settling
corner,
down
Wanda,
with that man. They're not marrying that
one
man. They're,
Meaning they don't have a job. They're just hanging out there with their pants low and they just down the corner with their friends
And
there.
she gonna change your life.
What career woman want with that?
no,
She gonna change your life.
But that's what she's
no.
saying. It's all
She gonna
about the
influence
sex.
him to be better.
She want the sex. She don't need nothing else from me. So I was just shocked. I was like, what? But to each his own.
But maybe she didn't touch
I
in the
wasn't
30
laying
years
down
she
with
was
nobody
married.
in no corner that don't doing nothing for the self. I sorry.
In the
I
30
don't
years she
care.
was married, 25 of those years her husband never bothered with her. Her husband never touched her. She haven't been touched in a long time, so she want to be touched.
Okay.
That is like, okay.
She want
I
to be
just,
touched.
I just think it's an amazing dynamic of what's going on. And again, we had kind of like cultural norms, and we had our morals and values were a lot different than they are now. And you can see it just in everything, in relationships and marriage. Again, in regards to the monogamy conversation, that it just has really evolved, and I can't even imagine what it's going to be in the next 10-20 years if we're still
My
around.
God, I
there
tell
will be
you.
no such thing as monogamy in the next few years. In the next, at least, I'll jump and say 20 years, but I'm quite sure before that, there'll be no such thing.
That's not true.
That's
Well,
true.
I don't think that's true. I think it's going to be more structured. It's going to be more happy. It's going to be more enjoyable than it was.
yeah,
I don't
I
think it's
just
going to be taken away.
yeah, I just think that I think now we're entertaining certain conversations, and henceforth, once people know what they want, they'll find like-minded people, and everybody will be happy. That's just how it is.
I agree. What I said was totally incorrect. Yes, because there are some people who just do not ascribe for certain things. And I think that's the whole thing we have to walk away from with here. Not whether one is right and one is wrong. It's the fact that we have to all understand that we're all individuals. We're all unique. And at the end of the day, we have to get to a place where we know ourselves. We know what we want. We know what we like. And that's what we go for. Instead of letting society and everybody else telling us who we should be and how we should show up in the world.
Yeah.
Good way to end.
More equally yoked
So those folks
in the
at
future.
home in the VI, y'all home at the VI, when y'all seen a sister with Tommy yesterday, and she see Billy next week, and
Mind
she
your
see
business.
Richard in the third week, mind your business, because the girl she got to feel out who she try. Same way with the brothers. If you see the single brothers that here with it, Ain't all about sleeping. They got to, they got to feel the way I
Gotta vibe it out. Gotta vibe it out.
Wanda,
Yes,
I guess, Wanda, we're saying that's not what I was saying, Wanda. That's not what I was saying. That's raunchy thing. You have to explore. I think you got to explore, but that's what raunchy saying. That wasn't what I was saying
trial and
at
error.
all.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
You got to try.
But
Trial
like
and
you
error.
said,
no, real talk. Because home in the BI, my son, you call a girl from A to Z. You say
Quick
she
pass
was
and in
this
a
and
hurry.
she's this and she's that, and you don't even know the whole story behind it. The same thing with the brothers, you see them, oh, he ain't no good. I see he was too much woman, but we ain't, it don't mean they sleep together. So it's real home in the VI. So
But it could also too mean, Wanda, that they did sleep with all them people too. So
eh?
it could be that they was with all them
Oh
people
God.
also too.
okay. Well, I'm
Maybe
sorry.
some, but
I'm sorry to
Anyway.
end the conversation because we're past our mark, but we will continue with other conversations. Wanda will definitely be back. Brianna, I hope you will be back. But I want to thank everybody who listened in, commented. We had a lot of commentary, and I appreciate that again. And we will see everybody back here next week, Thursday. Please be safe, take care, have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend. And see you next week.
Wishing everybody good things, great things, and beautiful things. Thanks again.
VI for life.
Good night.
Good night.